It is the story of a woman of great intellect, a great philosopher, a mathematician, and astronomer. It is the story of Hypatia from Alexandria. Hypatia was born in Alexandria, a city in Egypt, roughly in 370 CE. The story of this lady of great intellect is filled with glory and pain as well. Glory because of her extraordinary and inspiring life, and pain because of her brutal murder, because she chose the way of living and shining the way she wanted. She is no doubt an inspiration to all women today who want to fly beyond the box fixed by traditional society today. It is also a story of supporting father and a daughter. Her story is incomplete without mentioning her father. Her father, Theon, was a professor at the University of Alexandria. In fact, he was the last professor of that university. In developing her personality and making her life successful, her father played a great role. He tutored her in maths, astronomy, and philosophy-like subjects. In today's language term, it is called science. Alexandria was the city founded by Alexander in around 331 BCE. He himself was busy in world campaigns and left the development of the city under his commander Cleomenes. Cleomenes established the basics of the settlement, but in reality, the city of Alexandria was developed well under one of the Alexander generals, Ptolemy I. The same general started ruling Egypt after the death of Alexander. Under Ptolemy I, the city reached its heights. He established the Library of Alexandria, the museum, and the temple of Serapis. He turned the city into a hub of culture and knowledge. In such environment of knowledge and culture, Hypatia grew up. By all accounts, Hypatia was an extraordinary woman, not only for her time, but for any time. She was also a popular public speaker. Some historians say when she came to assembly to speak, people welcomed her with huge clappings and cheerings. They listened when she spoke. Her father Theon did not force her to follow the strict traditional life assigned to women, which was fulfilling the domestic needs of the family, caring the young children, nursing the sick, and preparing food and other things like this. Instead, her father taught the same skills he knew, just like he would teach a boy. Hypatia too did not disappoint her father. She rose to academic heights. She led a renowned and respected life in the city. Even she held positions to which only males were entitled previously. She did work on algebraic equations and conic sections. She invented a device which is used to calculate the date and time according to positions of stars and planets, and also invented the devices for measuring the density of fluids. She also taught the writings of Plato and Aristotle. She wrote a piece of Diophantus, 13-volume Arithmetica, which contains 100 mathematical problems. She also wrote an article on conic sections, but these writings have been lost in whole time. At that time, the Christianity was rising there, and later it became the empire's state religion. Hypatia belonged to pagan religion, who were the idol worshippers. However, Hypatia believed in none of the religions. Rather, she was inclined to mix religious beliefs. She studied and welcomed all religious philosophies. The Christians started attacking pagans and Jews. In fact, there were bitter religious conflicts between Christians, Jews, and pagans. They stoned each other in the name of God. They criticized each other's God. They burnt each other in the name of God. In fact, the whole city went mad in the name of God they knew nothing about. One day, the Christians attacked and destroyed the University of Alexandria and the library built by Ptolemy I, which contained about 50,000 books, most of them completely burnt. Hypatia and her father had to escape to save their lives. Next day, her father was brutally murdered by Christian fanatics. That time was the time when religion was a crucial part of people's life. In fact, it was like a decree which they had to follow upon their lives. Those were the religions with no modifications as we know today. Anything said beyond what was written in the book was called blasphemy. Anything which challenged the verses of those religious texts based on logic and reason was again called blasphemy. Science, philosophy, and astronomy in particular were termed as blasphemy or disrespect to God, because these were the field of studies which raised a conceptual questions on the religious books. For example, the preacher said, "There is a heaven above clouds," but astronomers denied that. They said there are planets and other celestial bodies beyond those clouds. Hypatia, being seeker of logic and science, was alleged of doing witchcrafts, or some called her witch. She was also accused of doing blasphemy, and the punishment for blasphemy was death. The preachers ordered that find her and kill her. One day she was found and was attacked by fanatic rebels of Christians, the same Christians who called her witch and accused her of doing witchcraft and blasphemy. She was dragged on the streets, stripped of her clothes. Some group of fanatic Christians stoned her with cheers and screaming, saying, "Kill the witch, burn her, chop her." And finally they killed her, and later they dismembered or cut her body into several pieces and burnt it. The death of Hypatia is shame for the history and will always remain a shameful black spot in the history of Christians. The irony is she was murdered on the 8th of March, the same day we celebrate International Women's Day today. It is not only a story of Hypatia, but also a story of murder of philosophy by conservative and religious fanatics of Christianity. We also called Hypatia the martyr of philosophy. Hypatia from Alexandria.